Hey there, everyone. Welcome to my demo video of bit and grains workshop inventory or just bit and grain inventory. Um, I want to show you what I've built and give you an idea of how I'm using it to build out the organization in my workshop and how you can use it to do the same, as well as how you can use it to manage projects, manage the maintenance of your tools, manage um, things like storage within your workshop, that type of stuff. And so in this page, the dashboard page, it's really a lot more useful after you're up and running and you're set up. So I'm going to take you through how I would set things up and then I'll show you kind of how I use it. So the first thing that I recommend people do is go in and set up their locations. Locations are where you're going to put things. So you have a top level location. I'll just uh, collapse that workshop. So my workshop is my garage. I have a 3 bay garage. It's one large bay and one small bay. So three vehicles can, it's a 3 car garage basically. And so that's where my main storage is located. But I've also added other locations. You can just click that add location button and you can add other locations at the very top level. So I've added my shed, my cargo trailer, and my vehicles. And the reason I did that is because sometimes I'll have tools in my motorhome or my truck or my Jeep, and I want to just have an inventory of what's there. Whether I use them for woodworking or not, I just like to know where things are at. So I have those locations. Well, then underneath the workshop, if I expand it, I've added several locations, and you are free to add locations however you like. You can add them as, a whole entire, rolling cabinet. You can have drawers, whatever you want to do. So the way that I've organized mine is I have several Milwaukee pack out stacks that are on wheels and that roll around. And so I've gone in and I've added things like Milwaukee Stack 1, Milwaukee Stack 2, Milwaukee Stack 3, and I'll add Milwaukee Stack number 5 because I have 4 down here. I added to my workshop later. I'll add Milwaukee Stack 5 and I'll show you what that looks like. So let's do that. So I need to scroll back up here and I'm going to click on add location. And then I'm going to add a location name. So this will be Milwaukee Stack 5, like I said. The location ID will auto-populate. Now, I don't want to add it like this because it's at the root level. So this would be the equivalent of my workshop, my motorhome, my shed. That's not where this Milwaukee stack is located. It's actually located in my workshop. So that's the parent location I want this to be found in. It updates the location ID. This is just a value that helps to keep things separated within the database within your workshop. So we leave that alone. We let it auto generate. You can change it if you want to, but I don't recommend it. You don't have to generate an alias or a breadcrumb. It'll automatically do that for you. You can add a description and you can add tags for searching or categorization later, but I'm just going to give my Milwaukee Stack 5 name there and add the location. Okay, so now that I've added that location, let's just scroll down and we can see it appears here now. And there's no way to expand or collapse it. It's just a Milwaukee stack. Now, I could add inventory directly to the stack now, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense because my Milwaukee stack is actually a couple of Milwaukee pack outs that are stacked on top of each other on top of the 4-wheel rolling wheels to move them around the shop. And each of those pack outs will say for Milwaukee Stack 5 has 2 drawers in it. So I have a total of 4 drawers in this stack. So the easy way to add those drawers to the stack is just to come over here to this green button here, the plus add child location button. Click on that plus and let's add drawer 1. I like to copy this if I'm going to add a couple of other locations. So I'll add that. Now you can see I can expand it, and there's drawer 1. Let's go here and add drawer 2. We'll add drawer 3 now. And then finally, we'll add drawer 5. I'm sorry, drawer 4. There we go. And if I expand it, drawers 1 through 4 of Milwaukee Stack 5. So that'll be important later on when we start looking for our inventory. Okay, so do that first as you get started with everything in your workshop, whether it's a wall cabinet, a Milwaukee wall mount system, pegboards on your walls. So give those names, and then you can add inventory to them, and it'll be easier when you're searching around the shop. When you search here for inventory, it'll be easier to identify where it's at. Okay, now that I got my locations done, the next thing I'm going to do is go into my inventory. And you'll notice under my inventory, I've got a lot of categories that are already here because I've added quite a bit of inventory to my database. But I want to show you a couple of the features here. Right away, we have an add button right here, add item. And the reason it's an add item is because we don't know yet what you want to add. So if you click add item, you now get to select the type. Is this a tool you're adding? Is it lumber, a consumable, or is it just storage? Because in my workshop, I have storage bins that have my personal stuff in them, right? And so you may want to do that as well. From there, you can select the type and you'll get a modal that is specific for that type. So for example, if you're adding a new tool, then the categories are going to be tool categories. If I cancel this and we go look at it again, add item, and we add lumber, well, now you can see the categories are going to be lumber categories, right? And this is just nice to help you keep things organized. Let's take a quick look at consumables. Okay, so my consumables would include different consumable categories, and my storage item is going to be things that you would have around the house, the general stuff, right? Okay. So now with that said, you can also filter. These are quick filters along the top. So I could filter by my tools, and you can see that the inventory list has collapsed a bit to show me the different categories of tools. And then from within there, you can click on your hand tools and it'll show you the tools and where they're at in the workshop. And if they don't have a location here, it's because they are not assigned a location. We can do the same for lumber. So my lumber categories, I've got some hardwood, lumber. We can do the same for consumables. So there's my wood glue. And for storage, and again, all my different categories of general storage stuff. Now you'll also notice that when you switch between these quick filters, you have buttons that are now specific to adding that type. And the categories are updated to be that type of inventory. Okay, so let's go back to all items. Let's add an item and let's add a tool. Okay, so, oops, I think I clicked the wrong button. All items, add item, tools. Go back to all items, add an item, tool. And now you'll notice that in here, I have 3 different options. So you can manually add all of the details for your tool, select the category, the brand, the model, any description information, put in a purchase price. I highly recommend it. It lets you track the value of the tools that you have. And then if down the road things were to be stolen, maybe these are stored in a trailer or in your vehicle and they disappear, you at least have an inventory with the value of those tools that you could submit to insurance, right? So you can do a manual entry. You can also import from photo. Now let me show you what that looks like if I wanted to import from a photo using our AI powered feature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come down here. You can see in my downloads folder, I have an image right here of a Milwaukee sander. And let's see what AI comes up with as it analyzes my image. There we go. It's an orbital sander from Milwaukee. It's a power tool, and it fills that information in. Now, where am I going to keep this? Well, right now it's just assigning it to the workshop, but let's go ahead and say that this is going to be in the top crate of Milwaukee stack number 1. And actually, I'm not going to do that because that's where my routers are at. I'm going to put it in the top crate of Milwaukee stack number 2. It's in good condition. I would say it's in excellent condition, fairly new. And I paid $199.99 for it. Just the tool, right, Milwaukee? Okay. When did I buy it? We're going to say that I bought it on the 1st of December. And we're going to click Add Tool. And the tool was added successfully from photo analysis. Now, if I quick filter to tools and I go to power tools, I have an orbital sander in my top crate. And if we take a look at it, using that little eye icon right here, click on that. There's that picture that we uploaded. So we know what it looks like if we send somebody to fetch it for us, and we have the details of it. If you want to edit any of the details, you just click on that little edit button, and you can go ahead and change the location or the condition and so on. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to show you, I go back to all items again, and I click on add item, and we do tool. I want to show you how to import from a link. And I'm going to go ahead and just paste an Amazon link for that Craig pocket hole drill that they just came out with. I'm going to click on import. And it's analyzing the page for me. There we go. The Craig Rebel Ionic pocket hole joiner. Model number brought in. Now it doesn't bring a photo in for this. I'm not going to take that off of the website that we're adding this from. I'm going to say that I purchased this today, and we're going to say that the price of it was $299.99. I'll click on Add Tool, and I don't know if you noticed that or not, but let's filter again, and let's go to Power Tools. Let's see, where is my Craig? So what did it add that Craig as? Because we didn't look at it. So let's search for it. So Craig added it as workshop equipment, right? And the location workshop. So we forgot to set 2 things, but that's okay because we can just hit edit and we can say this is actually a power tool and it's actually going to be in my bottom left shelf of wall cabinet number 1. And we'll update the tool. And now I know where it's going to be at. So that gives you an idea of how you can search and how you can find things, or how you can go directly to a category to see what you've got in that category. A couple other features that I want to point out here are that you can download a template, a CSV template, and then you could go ahead and just list your tools and then import that CSV file, and it'll bulk import them. We've also given you the ability to export a CSV so that you can take that list of your tools anywhere else you want to go. But we wanted to make it easy for you to manage. Now, one other thing I want to point out is I talked about storage. And so just to give you an example of that, I have these overhead shelves that hang from the ceiling above my garage door. And on my locations page, I called those large bay overhead shelf and small bay overhead shelf. And if you expand that, I added a number of bin locations, and I just numbered the bins myself. Same with the small bay, I got a couple of bins there. And if you were to click on one of these bins, it'll show you what's inside those bins. So that's the inventory item that I've added. Now, if I come back over here to inventory and I were to go to storage and add a storage item, you can see you can add whatever your item name is, pick the category, and then under the location, you would just find the bin. Or if you're putting this on, like, say, the left shelf or the right shelf, right, wherever you're putting this item, you can add that general storage item to a general storage location, and you can track pretty much anything in your workshop or in your shed or in your vehicles. Okay, so that is a look at our locations and our inventory. And so the other quick highlights that I want to give you before we end this video is that we can track projects. Sometimes you want to build a new home project. It's a personal project. So you can click on new project. You can select whether this is a personal project, it's a gift for someone, or maybe you do have clients. Maybe you take clients. Now, the reason we have this option to select whether it's a client project or not is because you can add all the details in here, estimate the cost, the number of hours that you're going to do, enter the client details so you have client information. And then once you create this project, let's take a look at a project that we have here. So I'm going to go to view this project. Once you have a project, you can then add tasks, things that you need to do for that project so that you can keep track of it, but you can also add materials. So as you've added lumber and consumables to your inventory, you can then come into here and you can select some of that lumber to allocate it from your inventory to this project. If you've entered the cost of that material, it'll track the cost of it. And then one of our roadmap features that we have is to be able to now take this entire project, and we'll have another invoicing tab here. So you can select what elements of it that you want factored into the cost, and you can send an invoice right from here to that client for the work that you've done. So that's a roadmap item that we're sharing here. In addition, you have maintenance. Maintenance lets you schedule the maintenance of your tools, anything in your database. Like if I've got maybe I don't know, let's go with my power tools. My DeWalt drill has an issue with it. I can describe what's wrong with it. I can say whether it's usable or not. So maybe it is not usable, and maybe this one I need to take to a professional shop to have them fix it. It's high because I use it every day, and I think this is going to cost me about $80 to fix. And I need to have that done by Monday because I got to go back to work and I got to use it. It's broken. And I schedule that maintenance. And now I've got an unusable tool that I need to do maintenance on. We've added some resources in here. The resource library will grow as time goes by, but for right now, we've got some workshop calculators that you can use to calculate board feet, optimize your cut lists, and calculate your finishes. And then we have analytics, and analytics will give you some details about the number of projects you have, how many tools are in use. That's one aspect that I didn't really point out, but if we go look at our inventory and we were to look at our tools, so I'm just going to go to like my power tools and my orbital sander. Let's edit that. I can actually assign it to a project if I had an open project. So all of my projects are shown as completed, so I have nothing to assign to. If you were to assign it to a project, then when you look at a project, it will show you, like for example, this workbench. This is a nice example. So if I go in and I view this project, I actually have a tool that needs to be returned. My DeWalt circular saw needs to be returned to the workshop. I used it for that project, but I didn't return it. And so you can just hit return to location and it'll put it back in its location. Again, if you have multiple clients and you're leaving tools on site, it's nice to kind of know where they're at, right? Especially for insurance purposes. If you're a DIYer, maybe you're working on something in one room and you want to know that stuff is there. Maybe that's a little bit of overkill. That's okay. The feature's there. You don't have to use it, but it is nice to know that. So when we look at analytics, we can see things like how many tools are in use in those projects I have. What's the total inventory value of the tools that are in my database? This will only be accurate if you add the value of the tool into the inventory. You can see the maintenance that you have upcoming, a breakdown of your inventory, items that are low in stock, because when you add consumables, you can define how much of that you want to keep on hand before you're notified. You get some analytics on your tools, which are the most expensive, what shape are they in, what tools don't have locations. I have quite a few in testing, and then which ones need maintenance and how often they need maintenance. So you can see if the same tool keeps needing maintenance, maybe you need to find a different brand of tool, uh, because maybe that tool isn't handling the job that it should be for you. And then finally, the last thing to point out here is under the dashboard. Now that we're set up, the dashboard will give you some real quick access to things like your total items. And if you click there, it takes you to your inventory. Or if you were to go to tools, it takes you to the tools filtered inventory. And that is true with our low restock items. So there we go. It filtered which ones need restocked, and you can add to that inventory right from here. And you can do the same with maintenance, takes you to that maintenance page. These are just quick adds, so they're not designed to give you as many input fields as before, but if you wanted to add a tool, you could quick add a tool to a category and a location. Same with lumber, same with consumables, and so on. And then if you scroll down, you just get recent activity that shows you what you've done, what the most recent things you've done are. And then finally, last but not least, is all throughout each page of the app, you have an AI assistant, and you can ask this AI assistant, we'll just create a new page here. You can ask this AI assistant anything you want. How can I get started on an oak bookshelf? And AI will help to guide you through what you need to do this. So it'll help you build out that project. It'll help you do a lot of other things. The functionality of the AI assistant on the roadmap will be to do anything you can do in a form field, add locations, add inventory, add projects, add maintenance items, move items, delete items, all of that stuff you'll be able to do right here by chatting with the AI assistant or using the little microphone button here and just talking to it and telling it what to do, which on a mobile device will be very handy walking around the workshop and just telling your AI what you need to do. So that is the grand tour of Bit and Grain's workshop inventory. I hope you find this video useful. If you're interested in subscribing to the application, you can go to workshop.bitandgrainstudio.com and sign up for an account. Thanks for watching.